something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Having a lovely Friday, I hope, and hopefully it wasn't as hot as the front seat of the crane at Roxby Downs today. 54 degrees is what that's showing there. A very, very unpleasant sort of a day, but at Roxby Downs, pretty average sort of a day, I would have thought. How are you, folks? If you're in Victoria, you're probably smelling a lot of smoke and wondering what's going on. In fact, we'll have a quick look at what's going on in Victoria at the moment. Now, bushfires, about 40 of them are raging throughout the state. The most serious at the moment seems to be north of Melbourne and headed south. It is headed into what is a very large water catchment at Lake Eildon. So Eildon town has been warned. There are also other areas like Alexandra, where this particular fire is at the moment. These pictures coming courtesy of Higgins Storm Chasing, who are out and about, and they've been running for the last few hours at least around that area, showing not just the flames, not just the smoke, but certainly showing a lot of folks who are out and about there working to try and contain those blazes, and certainly serious blazes. There are people missing. There are children missing. There is talk of a town that's been decimated. Now, in some of these areas, the town might consist of a bus stop and a community hall. It's more an area, if you like, but some of them can be a little bit more substantial. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm mildly confident that one of the fire areas, probably not that one, I think probably this one will show us a little bit of the affected area. There's a little town in there, starting with an R. Its name escapes me and I can't read it on the screen at the moment. But that, I believe, is the town that has been affected. So thoughts are with people who are in that area. And Tony has been sending me through some pictures as well. So thank you, mate. There are many people out on the back of fire trucks at the moment, which really surprises me, given that Victoria is the state. Remember, this cow, Jacinta Allen, defunded the CFA and then threw a tax on your properties as well. Now, the CFA isn't enough to go and fight these fires. Now it's requiring all the farmers and all their firefighting equipment as well. And, of course, the government will quite happily just ride roughshod over them all when it suits them. Pains in the arse. Yes, do please remember to like and subscribe, folks. We do need the help. The algorithm is suppressing us as always. And regardless, I mean, I've got the best IT and the guy in the country on it, and he can't break the algorithm, but he can wave really well. How are you, brother?
That's all I can do, mate. Wave.
Don't be like that. You're being far, far, far too modest. So, mate, Victoria is on fire. Are you? Well, the winds are blowing the wrong way, I guess, for you to be smelling the smoke from Victoria. But that's a fairly sizable part of north and northeastern Victoria, at least, that's on fire. Doris Borokowski, our lovely friend from Melbourne, who is struggling along with her husband Michael to regain control of the house that the bank stole from them. They were on Christmas holidays up in the Highlands, the Victorian Highlands, and were sent home. They were near what is the snow resort Falls Creek. They were up in that sort of general area, and they were asked to go home. They were evacuated out, and they actually got home at 2:00 yesterday or this morning. That's the best way of saying it. 2:00 this morning. So they were evacuated out of the area for a couple of reasons, not just because of the fire, but because there was a big storm risk coming through as well, and the area is prone to a bit of flooding if that happens. and you don't really want to be stuck between a flooded river and a bushfire. It wouldn't be a terribly pleasant place to spend your holiday. Although I'm sure, waterproof glass holder and a couple of bottles of Michael's Finest, you could wade around in the river there for a while and wait for the fire to brush over the top of you and not
Only
care
you
too
can
much.
comment
I've
about
drunk some.
that.
I've drunk some of his wines, mate. Trust me. After you've had a bottle or two of that, you don't care about anything in the world. Trust me. It all just sort of rolls.
Yeah, I know. Seeing you at
It's
the camp. Yeah, I remember that.
It's interesting that that's right. You would. It's interesting, this area that's on fire. It's probably not the most volatile part of Victoria that could go up in flames. And yet, these are raging grass fires, and there are 90-kilometre winds blowing down there at the moment, so it's pushing it along pretty quickly. It's just interesting that, given the maps we're showing here and this map we're showing here, that map there isn't just to show where all the wildlife lives. That map there shows the area that will be under construction from a Chinese wind and solar company. And the fire area just happens to fall right around there. But it gets even more interesting. This is the Clara line. Now, the Clara project is a rail project that goes from Brisbane to Melbourne eventually. This is the Sydney loop of it, if you like, or the Sydney leg of it. And you can see that the line heads north out of Melbourne and then pretty much to the Victorian border and turns right and heads off to Canberra and Sydney. That area where those numbers 6, 7, and 8 are also areas of fire watch concern, but certainly 8 is on fire at the moment. It's just interesting that these fires seem to be in areas where there's going to be a great deal of infrastructural type work being done by the government. I mean, the train line is probably very, very needed, but those wind farms, those wind turbines, going to be more of a problem starting fires when they fall into the grasslands that are currently burning, or when they spew some of their 6,000 tons of burning oil out of them when they blow a bearing. So, I don't know. Just found it a bit interesting that there was some of those interesting little maps that overlaid together quite nicely.
Yeah. Well, I think Crunchy said it when wonder if there's lasers, mate. I was asking, how did they start? No, does anybody know?
There was yesterday in Victoria, there was a lot of dry lightning, a lot of dry thunderstorms. So I am taking a stab in the dark and saying that many of them will have been started by lightning. But yeah, dry firing thunderstorms yesterday with a lot of lightning. My place is getting up and about in all states of Australia, but it's good to see that the Unity Hub is kicking off and so many people are now able to access it and are getting a great benefit from it too. If you want to come along and meet some of your Queensland friends from My Place Australia, then you can do it at the Burra Gully Bush Camp. That's coming up on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of January. It is about, I'd say, 3.5, maybe less, might be just fractionally more, 3.5 hours north of Brisbane. Beautiful camp to go and hang out at. You can bring your caravan, bring your tent, bring your motorhome if that's what you have, and look forward to what looks like will be 3 very full days, and we'll find out about those full days early next week. I'm going to be having a conversation with Bob, and I'm not sure Craig might be part of that too, and we'll find out exactly what's going on for that event. And if you want to get away from the weekend, go and hang out in the bush and get grounded, then it would be a wonderful weekend to get away and meet friends from the My Place community at Burra Gully coming up on the Australia Day long weekend. And details available through My Place Australia, of course, aren't they, Vince?
Yep. Indeed, you'll find it all through the Unity Hub. Also, I should really grab the new one and stick it up in on the web page, on the main web page, so that they can see that. I'll have to chase them up to get that done.
Very good, very good, very good.
Yeah.
Now, you have been, apart from snoring, as you do for vast, long periods of time, in the periods of time where you're not snoring, you are and have been doing some pretty amazing work, a bit of product comparison or product pricing comparison. Do you want to take us through what you discovered? Well, first of all, start us with, why did you decide to do this? What triggered you?
Well, as I take a sip of my coffee, not being a hint, but I went in because we ran out of coffee. I usually buy 500-gram Nescafe tin of coffee, and I went in to buy it. And sometimes you can get it really good because it might be on a special for $20, but generally it's $30 here. I walked in the other day; it's now $32, and I went, "What the?" All right,
as you would.
So I thought, okay, this is getting beyond the joke. Everything I look at seems to be going up, but is that really, or is it that just my perception? So I decided I'd start doing a little bit of price comparison, and I showed Carl this about the coffee and how much it's gone up and etc. over about a week ago. But today I got a little bit active. So I want to bring this up. This is for everybody just to understand what's been going on. Now, this is a price comparison of the prices from 2024 for a 12-month period to 2025. Okay, and it's going to show you the amount of increase. Now, understand Australia's CPI is 3.1%, I think, at the moment. So that's the consumer price index. Our wages go up by that much, right? And our food goes up by that much.
Wow.
Right, this is cheese. Okay, I've just got to shift the window here so I can press it. This is cheese. Right, it's gone up 10 to 20% over the last 12 months. Right, let's go a little bit further and let's have a look at some chicken mince and some beef. 10 to 15% or 15 to 25%. Right, let's go a bit further again. Let's look at chocolate. Right, it's gone up 15 to 35%, or 0 to 15 in retail for the larger blocks. We'll keep going again. Here's our coffee. 85%. 85%. 50% for the Woolies Espresso brands. 20 to 30% for Aldi. This is just, these prices are in South Australia, local to my area, just so that you know. Right. Instant mocha, 34%. Nescafe, which is not even on this list, was 50-something%.
Wow.
In 12 months. Right. Here's our eggs. These are all basic staples, right? Eggs have gone up 30 to 45%, 25 to 40% for barn laid, free range, 30 to 55%, organic, 20 to 40%. Right, milk.
I don't know where you got eggs for at $8.80 a dozen. Were you paying $8.80 each?
Yeah, probably.
Because that's what it's like.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, well, I mean, my prices in here, they're like $12 a dozen or something, just about.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen it for less than 12 or 13 in ages. Yeah.
Right, but this is using the large retailers, the Coldies, the Coles, the Aldis, etc., not the independent grocers and stuff like that, right? Who obviously need to make a bit more because they don't have the same buying power. But this is fresh milk, 15 to 30% over the last 12 months.
Bet that's not going to the farmer.
No, this is right. So this is a year-upon-year average estimates for pasta and Coles, right? We're looking at 5 to 10% in that. 30% increase in Woolies for the lower pasta shelf stuff, so that the not healthy stuff. All right, this is the average estimate on year change, right? For the budget supermarket 18-pack toilet paper. This is toilet paper, right? 5 to 10%, or 15 to 30% if you buy a 24 or 36 pack. If you buy the premium stuff, you're looking at 10 to 25%. All I'm going to say is shit, eh?
Shit, eh?
Here we go to shit, eh? Right? Basic vegetables. Potatoes, 20 to 40%. Onions, 5 to 20%. Lettuce, 15 to 35%. Tomatoes, 25 to 45%. Carrots, 20 to 40%. Right? Laundry powders. You can't even wash yourself nowadays, to be honest, right? 10 to 25%. Pet food. See, even the pets don't get away with it. 5 to 10%. It's now costing us 10% more to feed all the cats in this house and the puppy dog. Right? So at the worst case there, cat dry food is 10%, 20%. So in a comparison between the government CPI and food inflation, right, the ABS CPI, food and non-alcoholic beverages, this is what the government tells us is 3.1 to 3.3% price increase over the last 12 months. The actual observation, which you've just seen me go through today, is 20 to 30% on average. Right? And if that doesn't scare you, maybe that does. That blue bar right there, that is your average food cost versus the CPI for food and non-alcoholic beverages and the average CPI for all items. So the third one is the average CPI. So that's the average CPI for all items. That's what they say. The government tells us what that is. And that is what it's like in the shop.
The reality of it.
The actual.
That's a bit like what they're telling us the price of silver is for paper silver on the right versus the price of real silver on the left. It's very similar.
Yeah. Something like that. You have to ask yourself a question. If people's wages are only going up by 3.1% or 3.2%, I think it says down there, then where's all this extra money? The 30%, the 40%. Where's that extra money going? Is someone gouging prices, or is it just that the fact that it now costs more for diesel and petrol and super? And certainly not labour, because labour prices didn't go up that much.
No.
Right. So where's all that going? So I think it was just an amazing little bit, and I might actually snip this out and put it on Real Talk as well. I think, on FBN Network. Yeah. Or I might just do another show and explain a little bit more as we go. But
it's a great bit of work, Vince. Thank you for showing this. It's a very important bit of work. It really graphically demonstrates the differences that we've experienced just in 12 months.
In 12 months, yeah. Oh, actually, while I'm thinking about it, carry on. Go.
But can you imagine what it'd be like if you did it from like pre-COVID to post-COVID to now?
I did do a little bit of playing on that, and even that shows that the average rise over a 10-year period is around 80-odd% for food versus 33% for wages. So, yeah. So, very interesting in that respect. Question for you, mate. How many Australian pensioners does it take to change a light bulb?
Like an Australian pensioner can afford a light bulb.
Yeah, no, well, they can. They just can't afford the electricity.
Ah, very good. Very good.
All right. So the answer is 0. You broke my joke. And you told me not to lead with it, even telling it was a joke.
I did too. You did well. You did well. I thought I had the answer. So, no, don't worry. In fact, it reminds me of when I used to work with Cole Elliott, the comedian. People would always come up to him after a show when he was signing merch, and they'd want to tell him a gag. And they would get about 3 or 4 words into it, and he'd tell them the punchline every time. It didn't matter. Every time he knew the punchline. And if he heard a new joke, and maybe once I can remember it, he would laugh, but no, he was dynamite at it. Cole, lovely man, enjoying. I don't know that his retirement is exactly how it is. I think he's still touring a bit. He just doesn't do it nearly as much these days. Why would he? He's in his 70s now that I'm thinking about it. Poor old Cole. So, but I did see a picture on Facebook the other day. He and Karen, the family, he having a wonderful time over Christmas, New Year. So, God love you, Cole. Miss you, mate. Got to catch up soon. So, I'm just having a bit of a graze through the chats here. Sunflower has mentioned something about America. Things are looking up in America. I want to, but I can't. There is something that has been announced in America in the last 24 hours called Trump accounts, which are pretty exciting for the youth of America. These Trump accounts are going to be set up for every child who has a social security number, and you obviously can prove that they're an American citizen. Now, it will be kicked off with $1,000 will be thrown in from the government, but there will be other monies contributed from corporations as well. And the goal of this being that I'm going to bring up a screen here to try and show you a little bit more. All right, so this is what it's all about. Trump account will be a new kind of IRA established as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. To open the Trump account, your child must have a social security number, be a U.S. citizen under 18 years old on December 31st of the year of the account, and each child may have only one Trump account. Parents are being told how they can submit the forms and do all this, but scroll right up to the top and have a look at who's running this shit fight.
Vanguard.
Yeah. So Vanguard being what it is, there is a more and more there are stories that Vanguard and BlackRock have been overtaken by the White Hats for some time now, and that these companies do have the assets, do have the finances, and do have the ability and knowledge to reap havoc across all markets, not just gold and silver, but everything. They are also now branching out into a whole heap of different, almost philanthropic areas. This is not something that Vanguard nor BlackRock have really been known exceptionally much for. The reason that Sunflower mentioned that there was some, excitement happening in America is that this is great news for the children of America. This will essentially be a retirement funding package that they will be able to contribute to all the way through their life. From the moment they first get a job as a teenager, they can contribute directly to it, and so can their employer. It hasn't been mandated that the employers have to pay anything, but they can, up to $2,500 a year. They can put into this child's account. So can parents. Parents can put in, similar kinds of amounts. But if Junior wants to go and add a bit more, Junior is able to. So Vanguard, Vanguard are on it, on the edge. But this does seem to be, call it superannuation for kids, that has been kicked off with a huge incentive for every parent to register their child. We all know what putting your child's name down in the government coffers means, though, and I think there could be a lot of children who are not registered inside the American system. This will be a great way of bringing out those who have social security numbers and are legitimately able to accept this. And it will also bring out those who have illegitimate social security numbers and will trap them in the scam that would be going on there. So birth certificate all over again.
No, it's not, because the birth certificate, that funds are owned by somebody else, not us, and we don't have access to them. Here, these people will have access. So just to clarify that.
Yeah.
Because they will have direct access to that account.
I actually believe that this has great promise, something that, probably should be looked at for young Australians as well. Although, would our super, I mean, I've grown up with superannuation and always known that it was never going to be of much use to me, given how radio paid and all of that. So I knew it was never going to be a big thing for me. But there are people who have put a lot of money into Big Super, and at the moment, they might be a little shaky on it because it's all invested with Big Super. And if you look at the returns that your superannuation is getting you, could it compete with the returns that your own self-managed super fund could have got you this last couple of weeks or over the Christmas New Year period if you'd invested in gold and silver, more particularly silver for this run? But yeah, could you have done a little better with that? I think you might. And you still have the chance to do it. I would be getting myself out as fast as possible if I was still in a big super fund, because who knows what's going to happen. Look, she pops in, she pops out. We had the lovely Becky-O from Truth Seeker TV show up in the back room, and then she's turned her camera off. I don't know. I was only joking when I asked her to come on topless tonight to raise the ratings. So,
did you really?
Well, I said I'd go topless as well. I wasn't going to be sexist. I said I'd go topless too.
Sorry, so, you said raise the ratings, not destroy them.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
It looks like Becky-O might be trying to do a lion thing. And
it does look a bit like that. I haven't got the boots yet. I'm waiting for it, although I'd hope they'd be
Speaking of super and pensions, right? What was that you were telling me about pensions for Indians?
I'll get onto that. We'll bring Becky into it in a minute, but I'll bring Becky in. I'll get onto that in just a minute. Hello, Becky-O.
She's doing her one.
You're gonna now talk. Now that you've
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You say to put my headphones in, and then I've put my headphones in, and it won't even take my headphones.
Oh, well, that doesn't work. Well, unplug your headphones. Just use the old microphone. You're gazing out, looking at the beautiful view off your Ponderosa. Are you smelling the smoke? It certainly looks like we can see it a bit.
Well, I got a cigarette, but I just had some dinner. So yeah, you can sort of see all the. I don't know if you can see all the mountains up that way. I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't think I can.
Certainly see a lot of discoloured smoke, or what looks like discoloured smoke.
Yeah, and then you got all the mountains right at the back over there.
So how far are you? You're a good couple of 100 kilometres from the fire front, aren't you?
Yeah, so we've got one over in, we've got one over this way. So that's sort of the Ballarat area over that way. And then we've got like Blackwood Forest over that way.
Right.
And all Greendale and Greenwood and all that sort of stuff over there. But yeah, it's all around us really.
And of course you and the girls, Sherry, Doris, I've mentioned earlier, who got evacuated out last night from where she was staying. But Sherry's got friends all over that part of Victoria that's currently on fire with livestock and all sorts of stuff. So it's a pretty wild time for everybody down there.
Yeah, well, it was so hot today. I think it got to 43 here in Backers. And then Doris was evacuated from Dartmouth, and she got home too this morning. So that was pretty crazy. And the fires are, I think it was 15K away. One of her friends were reporting back to her. So.
Well, better to be home than sitting around between a flooded river and a bushfire coming the other way, I would have said.
Exactly.
We've lost your picture. We've lost your picture, so it's all getting a little weird. I might have to love you and leave you and bring Vince back in. Oh, no, there you're back.
There we are.
Very nice.
My pool for the birdies.
What other news out of Victoria this week? Jacinda Allen done anything stupid? Well, what am I saying? What's the new stupid thing Jacinda Allen's done?
What hasn't she done? She's an idiot.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, but she was coming out today talking about fire rescues when she hasn't even given enough funding to our local CFAs.
Well,
So
wasn't there? There was a huge hue and cry about this, Victoria, only a matter of month, 6 weeks ago, where the CFA came to town, basically expressed their absolute disgust, and the Victorian government, led by Jacinda Allen, thumbed a nose at them and told them to piss off. They get nothing. Even the
Yeah, well,
Metropolitan Fire Brigades were coming out to help them.
yeah, well, she was increasing, doing something about the fire levy as well, which they were pretty pissed
That's
off
right.
about.
Yep.
And then not
Yep.
giving them the funding that they need. And also, we had the new Westgate Tunnel closed due to sprinklers going off.
Oh, wow. That's only been open a week.
Yeah, yesterday or the day before when it was the other 41-degree day here in Melbourne. Yeah, Wednesday I think it was. Yeah, the sprinkler systems went off due to heat in the tunnel, and they had to close it.
Wow.
Yeah, and we all know that I think the CFA were also stating that they wouldn't let their family go through that thing because of the safety reasons. They haven't put in place something about safety measures to be able to do rescue if something happens down there.
I do recall that there were a lot of concerns from first responding agencies that there was no there was only very limited access for emergency vehicles into the tunnel in the event
Correct.
of a bad accident or something.
Yeah, correct.
Most of these tunnels have a tunnel in the middle between the two of them, don't they? Where emergency services can go in and then they can sort of jump through doors into the affected areas. But this tunnel is different. It's not like that.
I know the Burnley tunnel, it's got all the accesses to be able to get out and get in. I mean, if there is something quite significant that happened, I don't really think emergency services could go down there. They should just have one lane designated for emergency services, but they don't think of the smart stuff. They just think of the dumb stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course, smoke and everything gets trapped down there. If the electrics turn off, the big fans that evacuate the smoke don't work, so it becomes a very poisonous environment to work in. So, yeah, I had heard that there were a lot of concerns about that new tunnel, but it didn't stop the Victorian state government opening it up. Of course, why would we think they would pause? Because they've shown over the last 10 years or so that they're more than happy to kill as many Victorians as possible and use really oblique ways to do it. So this is just another one.
I feel like Juanito actually sitting here, don't I? Anyway.
Yeah, you're going to need a better pair of boots.
Yeah, right. I just got some fish and chips. I put a hat on and I'm like, I really can't be bothered. So, yeah, I'm just going to give you a view of like my little fucking garden. So.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, it's nice. It's looking a little dry. You could be out there with the hose.
Well, I did have the hose out here. You can see little patches, but we've had such extreme freaking weather here that whatever you use, it's just all dry.
It is very dry.
It's a very beautiful little part of Bacchus Marsh, but anyway.
Will you be putting on your mermaid tail and getting in that pool for us?
Well, this is how windy. The wind gusts that we had here.
Oop, I've blown the phone clean out of your hand. And the picture too.
Oh, no, I don't know what's wrong with my camera now. Fuck me. Oh, sorry, there we go. Yeah, so we've got a lot of ash that's being...
Sky flower she is.
Was getting... a lot of ash was coming through the part of Darley, which is just over this side. From all the wind gusts, we had ash and everything over all of our cars. So you can see all the cars, they're just full of
ash.
Yes, but
well, not a time for good washing.
Nothing really else to report on. Victoria's still a mess, and Albo's being an idiot.
And now it's just a smoking mess.
Yes, now it's a smoking mess. But no mermaid outfit. I'm really sorry about that.
Well, we live in hope. We'll start a GoFundMe. We'll get there one day. I'll let you go back to your wine and to your family.
Thank you
for calling in and giving us a bit of an update.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The lovely Becky O from Truth Seeker TV on a Friday night doing a little 107 with her sandals on. I think that's lovely. You're not wearing sandals, are you, buddy?
No, actually, at the moment, because it's still reasonably warm here, I'm actually not wearing any shoes at all.
Yeah,
So-
the same. All right. Before Becky O came on, you started mentioning things about the age pension and associated other bits. I learned some interesting things today, that Australia has an Australia-India Social Security Agreement that was brought into life by Malcolm Bloody Turnbull in 2016. This allows combining residency and insurance periods for pension eligibility. Medicare is not reciprocal, apparently, but permanent visa holders, e.g. aged parent visa holders, can access aged pension after 10 years of Australian residency, potentially less with Indian credits, and NDIS can be accessed if they are disabled. I don't know what NARWP stands for, but there'll be none of that for aged pension. Indian migration has grown, 845,000 Indian born in 20,000 and in 2023. The costs to the age pension, $55 billion a year now. Projections vary, but the NDIS from 42 billion potentially to 100 billion by 2035. I would say in excess of 100 billion well before 2035 is what's going to happen. Claims that there will be no pension for Australians down the track are overstated, they say. Well,
not really.
Not
really. Newly arrived resident waiting period. NARWP.
Newly arrived resident waiting period. There you go. Yeah. Well,
okay.
So with the reciprocal pensions with India, and these are reciprocal, right? This is a reciprocal thing. So here, folks, if you are looking for a place to go and retire, don't think about Bali. Go to India, because you'll get their pension when you go to India. I mean, what you're going to do with 2 cow patties and a small bit of hash every week, I don't know. But it'll be an experience you'll be able to write home to the family about. Indian immigration to Australia is massive. India has a population of 1.5 billion people, with the Australian age pension available to them in just 10 years. That's 10 years of residency, not citizenship. Notice. 10 years of residency, not citizenship. That's going to prop up the short-term economy by adding a lot of money short-term, but it is, as this person has stated, a ticking time bomb, and it will cripple this country. It cannot be allowed to go on. This person asks, surely we have to cancel at Albo, say something about it, whatever the woman from the Liberal Party's name is. Haven't heard a whisper too much out of either of them about this. Now, once again, it sounds like I'm, bashing Indians, and I'm not. I would, if I was an Indian, I would be taking every opportunity I could that was handed to me by anybody to get the hell out of Dodge and try and make a better life for myself. So
hang on a second. I've lived here all my life, got taxed all my life, so that I can get a pension, because I'm one of those that still does. I mean, anybody from 65 onwards, and born in 65 onwards, doesn't get one.
67 now.
No, 67 is the retirement age.
No, to get a pension is 67. 67
so
is a
1967. You still get one if you were born before 67. Is that right?
No. You have to be 67 to get your pension.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, I understand that if you were born after 1965, you don't get one. Right?
Oh, well, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, if you're born after 1965, you don't get one. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. I'll check that in a minute. But, I paid taxes all my life to get my pension, and they can come and get one after only being here for 10 years.
10 years. And 10 years of parent visa. So they're not in the country working. They're they're old. They're already coming into the country. They're just babysitting while the young'uns go off and drive Uber all day or go to 7-Eleven or whatever the hell they're doing. They look, you can't blame people for taking the opportunity when it's handed to them on a golden platter, as Turnbull and others have done on behalf of the Australian people. So while I'm saying these are all Indian figures, and I've got a lot more, you can't blame the Indians for taking up the deal. What we have to blame are the people who put the deal on the table and ask the questions, why and when is it stopping? Why would they do this? Well, it's easy. They needed the money. They are extracting money from Indians hand over fist to come to this country. Why? Because they've spent all the money that we give them, and we're not real keen to give them any more. So they will import as much of it as they possibly can. And through the university system is where it's begun and been going for some years. But now the gates are just thrown wide open. What have you discovered, big fella?
Yeah. No, I have to do a fact check on myself here, and I fact checked myself, and I was wrong. Apparently, you can still get a pension even if you were born after 1965. You've got to meet certain criteria, but you can still get it. So, fact check. Vince is wrong. There we go.
Do you have to identify as a certain kind of somebody after 1965? Don't ask what you've got.
You've got to go through asset test, income, residency. You must be an Australian resident, usually for at least 10 years, and 5 of those years without a break. I wonder if that same requirement goes to the Indian thing. But anyway,
yeah,
interesting.
And it won't just be Indians. That's a broad requirement for anybody who's coming in from overseas, I suspect now. Then. Because we get a lot of Palestinian elderly who come in, get a lot of Lebanese elderly who come in. In fact, we get a lot of Lebanese from all age groups. They come in, they start a business, they go home again. They come back, make sure the business is going, they go home again. They like to spend 3 months of the year here and 3 months of the year there, 3 months back here again. Is that citizenship, or is that just picking up the profits of the coffee shop?
Yeah, permanent residency, they call that. There's, 1.3 million permanent residents or something at the moment. 2.7 million in temporary visas currently in Australia.
Yeah,
as of September last year.
Over 1 million Indians now. And a huge voting bloc for the Australian Labor Party.
Now, see, how does that work? Because theoretically, you can only vote if you're a citizen.
Well, that's why they're jamming citizenship through so quickly. And I've got to be careful what I say here. But let's all bear in mind that there are question marks over the legitimacy of not just the counting of the votes, but the veracity of some of those votes as well. And maybe the fact checkers and the vote checkers and the computer that was checking all that sort of stuff was having a bad day. So, yeah. You saw that Indian police have seized. Yeah, they've seized 100,000 forged certificates from 22 universities. In Australia, they've discovered 23,000 students hold these forged certificates.
Really?
I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard. So 23,000. Now, what are they going to do about it? Now, let's say it's not 23. Let's say it's 10,000, and all of them are student visas. All right. What are you going to do with them?
Well,
what are you
they're on a visa. I've got an answer to that question. They're on a visa.
Yes, but the people who control the approvals and disapprovals of said visas are currently only deporting white people who want to protect white people's interests, and the black or brown or brindle or orange or green or yellow people that are actually committing real crimes with machetes. They're raping people. They're murdering people. They're standing over and intimidating people. They are slashing them in the streets of Carlton, and they're allowed to go home on bail.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely disgusting.
So we can't really have much hope in our justice system providing anything remotely like justice. I think they're working to make sure that it happens quicker.
Well, maybe there's a chance that there could be a change. I mean, you've heard the latest news about the polls that came out.
Well, what? And look, wouldn't it be wonderful for this change to be made? And I say that with a very big but at the end of it. But please tell us about the poll.
Okay, so fresh polling conducted by Demos AU for Capital Brief. This is the first voting intention survey that for the new year has delivered a monumental result for One Nation. One Nation has drawn level with the coalition on 23% of the primary vote, making a historical breach for Australians' entrenched two-party system. Now, here's where you get your but. All right. In all fairness, I'm going to go before he gets his button. Is it, we've been dealing with the devils we know. Maybe it's time we chose the devil we don't know and just see what the bloody hell happens. Right? It may not change, but we'll never know if we don't friggin' try. So then you can put your butt in. Now you can go but.
But.
There it is.
Pauline, even if it wasn't One Nation, if it was another party, I would still be saying the same thing. These people speak with forked tongue, I find. They will tell us what we want to hear all the way right up until the point they're elected. And then they will just keep telling us what we want to hear while they do whatever the bureaucrats enable them to do. I believe that a lot of these people would go into the position to look after, to curate this nation with all the right intentions. I 100% believe that. But I also believe that the system that supports them when they get to Canberra is more corrupt than the political system it supports.
Yeah.
So how can those politicians actually make a difference? Now, you're right. We should probably give them a chance. Does the nation have another 6 years? And should we then be setting, and I'm all for giving them a chance, okay? Let's say I'm all for giving them a chance. What KPIs do we set so that 3.5 years later or 3 years later, when we've elected Pauline, she's been sitting in the lodge for 3 years. She's had some great meetings with Donald Trump.
That was my butt.
She's done a lot of supposedly great things for the country. What are the KPIs that we would measure success by? One of those for me would have to be legislating freedom of speech in this country.
Yep. And I was talking about that today.
And the protections.
If they were to do it, it should. I'm going to do a whole heap of interviews with various people here for the South Australian election. One of the questions I'm going to actually ask is, would you agree to or submit a bill about freedom of speech for Australia? Or would you raise a referendum so that it could be enshrined into the Constitution so that only the people could change it? Right, that's one of the questions. So I agree. 1, freedom of speech, 100%. 2, getting our infrastructure back in here. Right, there's a whole heap of KPIs we can set. So
yep. And when they don't meet them, I mean, they'll have bureaucratic excuses. So, and some of them might be very well researched excuses. There will be reasons things can't happen within a certain time frame. We're not going to build a fast train from Brisbane to Perth via Sydney and Melbourne in 4 years.
Could use Indians.
Well, what would we be? Well, we probably could. Yes, you're right. If we actually used immigration to our benefit rather than to our demise, yes, we probably could build it in 4 years. You're 100% right. But would people find Australia as attractive to come to if all of a sudden they had to work when they got here, rather than be tipped into a beautiful house somewhere in Sydney or Brisbane or Melbourne or any other capital city, which seems to be where most of them want to go? They have to be forced out into the country under an agreement that is held between India and Australia for a direct area migration pact. So when they get on the boat to come to Australia, they are told, well, you'll be going to Darwin, or you'll be going to Alice Springs, or you'll be going to wherever. But they only have to spend a certain amount of time there before they can pack it all up and move to whichever part of the country they so desire to live in most. I've outlined a plan here a little while ago that would have them working for 4 to 5 years, building infrastructure in this country, learning Australian mannerisms, learning who Australians are, what it is to be Australian, picking a football team, learning that India and Pakistan really aren't cricket teams; they're just people we play against occasionally. I mean that I like digging the cricketers a bit. But we could genuinely foster a real nation building program through what I've proposed. But will they do it? No, they don't want to do it, because they would never do it, because it would achieve something. We can't have people achieving things, because then they'll want to go and achieve more things. All these people might want to go and live in bigger houses. They might see through the government lies. They might wake up to the fact they're being taxed out of existence unlawfully and stand up. So,
well,
they have to keep the control on them.
My butt is that we just have to look at the US and Trump. He said he was going to go in and do shit, and he did.
Well, he has done shit.
His promises. Yeah. Well, effectively, I mean, he said no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, all that sort of stuff. And he got that stuff happening, right?
Yep.
And that's what we know, that One Nation's saying, goodbye to the World Health Organization and stuff, this climate change and whatever. Now, if they hold true to that, then that's a move in the right direction, at least. Yeah. Now, for all those who say corporate government, so what? I'm still going to vote at the board meeting if I want to change. So that's just my opinion, even though I know it's corporate.
I think we should set up something on the website where people can put in what is their KPI or what they think the KPIs should be. For how would we gauge One Nation to be successful if they were given the privilege of running this country, and they were given the privilege for 4 years on the basis of, you get this term to show us what you can really do.
Show us what you can do. Yep, 100%.
And what other KPIs that we need. And I think that's a document we could put together on the website and send off to them eventually.
We could actually, on the website, you can make a comment. We'll start a comment chain, a blog type section. People can comment on it. I'll rip something up tonight, put it up there. Put it on the front page and comment off from that. But I think, all right, so we're talking about One Nation. Why One Nation? Well, only because I think they're the only party that's got any chance to do anything. All the other minor parties haven't got enough backing collateral at this stage to do it. And that's the only reason. It's not saying that what they've got is right and what they're doing is right. I like a lot of their ideas and bits and pieces, and always have. But as long as we keep dividing and putting more and more parties into the mix, we're making it as hard for us to do a proper regime, and I'm saying the word regime, change in this country. So that's just my personal opinion, and it's political speech, which, by the way, is the only free speech you have in this country, according to a high court law. Political discord is still free speech as long as it's political.
Yes. So that's something we need to really consider strongly. The time is coming where we'll be asked to go and vote again. And look,
Well, that's the 31st of March here in South Australia. It'll be interesting to watch.
well, what will be interesting to watch is how many One Nation candidates are stood in the seats of South Australia.
Well, I know
Because
at least
because
two
if they
already.
yeah, okay. How many seats are there in the South Australian Parliament?
I've got to research that because I have to do interviews for all the candidates on
So-
FBN if I can do that.
We would want to be seeing a sizable number of One Nation candidates in every seat for South Australia. And if they are able to pick up some seats, I would say that that poll that you just mentioned has some legs to it. One Nation, if they want to win federally, have to get people in on a state basis, and not just one or two. They need 7 or 8 in every state parliament. So
Both upper and
I'd
lower
be very
house.
interested. And will One Nation stand those people in every seat? I think they stood somebody in every seat last federal election, but they did so with a, we're just, a lot of people had no chance in those, dyed in the wool seats, but they still stood. We want people who can actually make a difference, who won't just stand to say, oh, yes, One Nation filled this hole here in this seat by standing this person. We want people who will actually get up and be part of the plan to fix the country. So that's the other thing. How do you know that you're going to be allowed to get up and fix the country? Because you probably won't meet Pauline until, some party meeting where you'll get maybe 5 minutes one-on-one with her. And the next time you'll meet her, if you are successful, will be on induction day at Parliament House. So we need people who are going to be in line, on board with the plan to change Australia radically. Obviously, there is all the things getting us out of the WHO and the climate crying agreements and all that sort of crap, which I honestly believe that they will do in a heartbeat as well. But there are much more systemic and dangerous issues in this country, a lot of them stemming clean out of the bureaucracy. And I would want to hear One Nation say that they are going to clean house when it comes to the bureaucracy as well, which would be a terribly hard thing to do for a new government coming in, particularly a first-time government, because you need those bureaucrats to walk you through the system, to show you and hold your hand. And that's how they screw up the plans. So this is where I feel she's, Pauline can't
She's
be
right,
Prime
she
Minister.
can't.
She's in the Senate. You're right. No, quite true.
Yep, 100%. Doesn't mean somebody else from within the party can't, though, that gets elected for lower house.
Also doesn't mean they won't parachute her into a House seat. Oh, given these figures.
Doubtful. She's a sitting senator, so I doubt it.
No, they've done it before.
But
not One Nation, but it's been done before. So
yeah. Well, I know we've got
the by-election.
In my area of Hammond here, we've got our normal Lib guy, Pederick. We've got a new Labor candidate that's coming in, which just happens to be the mayor of Manham. So she's going as the Labor candidate, which I think would stir up Labor a bit. She's a bit of a ball terror, so she's a good lady. And then Rob, who's the One
That
Nation
won't matter, mate.
candidate.
If she's going to Labor, mate, won't matter if she's a ball terror. There's nobody with any balls in Labor. So
yeah, well, she is. That's what I'm saying. I know her. All right. So I don't know why she chose Labor, but still. Effectively, though, and we've got a One Nation here, and I know Elizabeth has already got a candidate for One Nation, so yeah, so it's going to be an interesting time here in South Australia. I think South Australia is going to not have a huge impact, but will show just how much of a movement there is in this election. Because you've got to remember, last election, Labor won hands down. Yeah. Right? Oh, Barnaby Joyce in Lower House, he can be PM. Good point. Good point.
He could be. God help us. But, yep, he could be. Well, you won't find him asleep on the footpaths of Canberra after that, of course, because he'll just be asleep on the footpaths around. All right, mate, love your work. It's been fun. Have a great week. Thank you for being part of it. And do you have a message to send everybody into the weekend with?
Well, we'll have our coin toss episode on tomorrow night. I've actually managed to get a hold of Ainslie Bullion and have arranged to do an interview with those guys next week regarding tokenization of silver and gold and how they support that and how that is backed in CoinSpot. So that should be very interesting.
So is that a chat with Matt and Ant or just Matt?
Yeah, just Matt.
Yeah,
so we're going to have a chat with Matt. Had a very interesting chat with him over the phone. So shout out to Ainslie Bullion on that one. And like with all things in life, all I say now is we have to keep moving ahead and keep the faith. And with that, I'll do this.
Oh, the slow-mo sexy wave tonight. See you, brother. Lovely. We'll love your work. And from me, folks, that's just about it for me too. I'm sorry about last night. I had a blinder of a headache, quite literally. So went to bed early. But you might see a little bit out of me over the weekend. You never know. There are weird and strange things happening. So I might be able to share a bit of that with you over the course of the weekend. If you are heading out, be safe on the roads. You know, the dickheads are camped out there at the moment, and they are excelling in their ability to piss everybody off on the roads. Could I offer one bit of advice? If you do come across a bit of a road rage incident, stay in your car. Don't get out. Don't go start throwing fists or that kind of things. I watched a terrible road rage incident today, which I was going to share with you, but it's just awful. Now, admittedly, it didn't happen in Australia, but it ended with 2 people being shot. There is no appointment, no need, no way that getting 1 car, 2 car, 10 cars ahead is worth an argument that gets you shot. Let the fool get ahead. Pray to God there's a policeman up there. Karma will come and get him. The dickheads do attract karma. So it will come to them. But just stay safe, folks. This video today really shocked me. And it was instant. Somebody got out of their car, pointed a finger, and they didn't just get shot. The person who was sitting in the car and didn't get out of it got shot as well. You know, we've been disarmed in this country, so the odds of you being shot, not real high. But the odds of you catching a claw hammer between the eyes, significant. Keep away from the dickheads on the roads, folks. They're dangerous. God love you. Speak to you over the weekend.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!